Oh, my loves, how are you? We're on day 5 of the Higher Self Embodiment series, but we're going to dive into some very important messages for the Divine Feminine Collective because the energy has been coming through for multiple days so intensely that I just could not hold back from addressing it any longer. And so, what we're going to do is we're going to allow the Divine Feminine Collective higher selves come through with any important messages to support the Divine Feminine Collective internally. And of course, any external experiences you are having with feminines in your life. Okay. The energy that I've been picking up on has been a very deep energy of frustration, but connected with this energy of frustration and feeling stifled because of being ready to grow to the next levels and feeling held back. But what I'm sensing is it's actually that moment in time right before the big shift occurs. Kind of like when it feels like not a whole lot is happening, but there's about to be a whole new wave of energy coming through. And so I want to see if what insights or information would like to come through from the higher self divine feminine collective to support these energies. And I'm going to pull out the shaman dream deck because this is what I feel guided to do. It's interesting because this deck usually comes through for me as the divine masculine, but we're going to see what wants to come through for the feminines today. Okay. Ooh, I had one I picked and then one flew out in my lap. So we're going to look at that. Okay. So it came out as jeweled web connectivity. And then the heart home compassion card was the one that fell on my lap. And what's coming through for me to express to the divine feminine collective is that the collective of divine feminines in general have been working very deeply on their own inner union and working within their own energetic fields to stabilize and work on themselves, a lot of inner focus. And to me, what's coming through is that the frustration within the collective is that many of the feminines are actually ready to expand to their next levels. But what I'm feeling is that many of the feminines are kind of sensing like, but my next pieces aren't showing up, whether it's people, places, or things, or confidence, or the bridge, or whatever, thinking that it's not present or available. You're feeling unsupported, like what you're needing is not available. But what is coming through is actually what you're needing and wanting is available. You're being called into a new perspective because you are being called into the next levels of your evolution. And what is coming through is, wow, this is kind of hitting me on energetic levels, is that if you've been kind of very focused in a pocket, you're being called to realize that you are a piece of the bigger collective puzzle. And you're being called to start linking up and connecting in a bigger way, community wise, connection wise, with a bigger network. Okay. And maybe there was a way that you thought this was going to occur or happen, or you've been focused on building your life in the way that you knew. And that's all what I'm getting is actually that's all going to come into play. But this space where you're waiting for heart home to come together, excuse me, I got a tickle in my throat while you're waiting, this is getting worked on. It's like everything is getting worked on. And your frustration, what's happening is you're feeling like things like your pieces aren't lining up or they're kind of far away or yeah, like I said, you're feeling like something is missing. But what's coming through is that it's actually to allow yourself to expand. Okay. And in the expansion of what I mean by that is you don't have to know the next steps in particular, but all you have to know is actually this idea or belief that what you need is not available is what you are being called into letting go of and unraveling those beliefs. It's releasing a deeper layer of abandonment. It's releasing a deeper layer of resentment and allowing yourself to open up to what actually is available for you. And what I'm sensing is that you're actually not realizing how much you've learned and how big your abilities have actually gotten. And this is why there's a stall on creating this bigger picture because you haven't actually expanded your belief in yourself quite enough yet. And this isn't coming through as judgment, it's coming through in just completely allowing yourself to drop into the knowing that you have everything that you need, that it's all there. And it's really just a matter of kind of releasing the membrane. Because what I'm sensing energetically is like this feeling like there's a blind spot. Okay, I can feel that. So, what I want to do is get some cards, some messages around what this blind spot might be, or maybe we don't even need to know what it is, but what is wanting to come in the blind spot, if you get what I mean. Usually, when energy like this comes in, that the message is like, okay, pan out and get a new perspective. But I'm almost getting a different energy with this. So just please roll with me. It definitely feels different. Okay. With this Wheel of Fortune, what's actually coming through is everything is in the process of changing. You've been learning how to balance, you've been learning how to stabilize, even in the instability. And what's happening as a result of this is all of the pieces of your puzzle are actually coming into alignment for you, but it's still in process. And so, actually, oh my gosh, I forgot this was coming in a lot this week, earlier in the week. There's actually a lot more occurring that you're not able to see. There's other pieces and things getting orchestrated. And all you have to do is, yes, focus on yourself, but there is another piece. So hold on. That's the part we've been doing, and we know this, right? Things are getting orchestrated. There's things that we can't see. But I think what's coming to me is that we've gotten so used to this. Now we've gotten so well versed at focusing on ourselves and trusting and surrendering and knowing that we don't need to know all of the pieces. But now what I'm sensing is the universe is kind of tapping on the feminine shoulders, like, okay, you got that down. Now it's okay to open up. You can open back up the parts of you. Okay, what I'm sensing is that many were so focused on themselves that they stop worrying about what the masculines were doing. And actually, what's coming through is that you don't have to focus on the masculines, but it's okay to open up to the potential of communication or connection from the masculine side of things. This could be your actual literal counterpart, your twin flame, the masculine that you probably watch this channel for, or it could be the general overall divine masculine collective. It feels like actually it could even obviously be both. But what I'm sensing as I'm saying this and it's growing deeper is that the feminines are being called to reconnect with the divine masculine collective in a new way as we've worked to release all of the old programming and the beliefs around the old codependent ways that relationships have been, we're now being called to that many of us are ready to open back up to connecting with the divine masculine collective in practice and see where and how far we have come along. A few weeks ago, I was getting the messages that, the masculines are going through their transformation and that they might start coming and opening up to feminines and things are going to be shifting. And what I'm seeing is that, yes, many of the feminines have stabilized, cleared a lot of her toxicity around her abandonment and resentment issues, cleared a lot of her suffering and sadness. She's been focusing on herself and building her life and her foundation and her business, or prepping to. I know I've had conversations with some of you guys that are really kind of like at that cusp of being ready to launch out. So maybe take into consideration that part of what you're going to be sharing will potentially be with the masculine collective. It feels like take that to heart and see how it might fit, or just be ready for that part of it. Also, this feels a lot bigger in the sense that this heart home card to me is speaking about all of the parts of life. For some reason, it's coming through, the heart of us, the heart of life, our health, our emotions, our spirituality, our relationships, our purpose, our finances, our connection with the earth, all of those things, all of the parts that make us who we are, all of what we've been working on or envisioning for our foundation. That part of it is that the collectives are actually preparing to meet back in the middle. Okay. And what's coming through, this is so great. Okay, hold on. What's coming through is that the feminines have gone through that transformational process. Yes, of course, we're still learning, but now she's transforming in that she's ready to come back to the table and meet in the heart space and meet in the middle and hold compassion for the masculines, not because the feminines are doing the work for the masculines, but the feminines have enough compassion to allow them to go through their process, but still be there as a support for that process, to allow the energetic transference, to allow in the sense of sharing the knowledge, sharing the wisdom. But I'm also getting that in return, the masculines have wisdom to share as well from their experiences that they've been having. And this is really interesting because I put the deck on the table right side up, and I usually don't do that. I usually put it right side down. But this 5 of Swords energy was what was at the bottom of the deck. And what's coming through to me, this card speaks to me about the frustration I was speaking on. And actually, now that I'm getting to it, I'm feeling it in the feminine and the masculine collective. And this card to me always kind of speaks of like this higher self energy wanting to come through, wanting to connect, but us not being able to hear it because we're kind of bogged down. And now this is starting to speak to me about that 2 of Swords energy where we're feeling blind and cut off. Now the blindfolds are coming off, the strings are releasing, the blocks are actually unraveled. Believe it or not, what's coming through is the blocks are unraveled. We're so used to being blocked that we haven't been able to see that it's clear now. The membranes are leaving. The places and spaces where the masculine and feminine collectives had shut each other off so that they could go through their healing process are actually lifting. And what's happening right now is we're actually unraveling, clearing, and dissolving the frustrations that we felt in the past around feeling blocked out or limited in our system within ourselves, but also within our connections. So it feels like it's actually in the process of clearing out, and some of the frustrations or blocks or blindness or uncertainty that's coming up is actually the blocks leaving the system, not just internally within our own systems, but within the collectives. This is actually a really exciting message that I did not necessarily foresee coming through like this, but I'm here for it. And it's because this was underneath this, because again, we have become much stronger than we've realized. Even within the masculines just beginning or strengthening into their transformational process, they're actually stronger than the feminines have been assuming. The masculines, even though they were holding the external space for the feminines to go through her transformation, it's actually coming through that the masculines were still going through theirs as well. Theirs is just now beginning to become more external. We're going to start to see more evidence in the physical world of the masculine's external transformation. And part of how the collectives are going to be able to come together and work this and practice this is by actually opening back up to one another in the physical world. Okay. Now, from a feminine perspective, most of you know there's probably not a whole lot that you're needing to do in the physical world as the feminine, except for open up to this potential and possibility and allowing yourself to receive the connections and relationships and friendships and family connections with the masculines in your life or the ones that are presenting. Practice and show yourself how tempered you've become. Notice how much you're opening to the connections of the masculines, but that you're not needing it in a needy type of way. But in truth, the feminines and masculines do need one another to continue to grow. And we're reaching this point in the collective where this is showing and coming through from an energetic perspective that feels very true for me. And the difference of the energy that's coming through is that in the past, maybe there was a neediness on both sides in different pockets that was more codependent or pulling. Okay. And then we moved into learning how to become those things for ourselves. And now we're ready to reconnect in new ways on a bigger planetary collective scale to practice what we've been learning, right? Because we've been learning individually. Remember back at the beginning, I said we've been learning individually, but now we're ready to reconnect and open up and practice what we've been learning. This is worldwide, collective wide with everybody, but it's coming through that this is very, very important for the masculine and feminine collectives in particular, because it feels to me that there is about to be a wave coming forward where many are going to be coming back into physical world communication to practice and notice and embody how much more tempered they actually are. Okay. And so, what's also coming through is maybe how you saw yourself the last time you were in communication or connection. Real stop and really think about how much you've grown. I want you to actually drop into imagining or connecting with the masculine or masculines in your life in a new way and really truly notice in the energetics how much you have shifted. And then when you're interacting with males and masculines and you're opening up to receiving those connections in whatever way they come, it can be platonic, romantic, counterpart, family, neighbor, coworker, just a stranger on the street. However, you're choosing to open up this interaction with the divine masculine, masculine collective is going to give you information and show and prove how much you have actually learned. Because this is more of that embodiment process, loves. We actually have to practice what we've been learning in the physical world to embody it. Just like I said in the last video around, we can watch somebody drive a car, we can even practice with an instructor, but until we're actually out on that road in the car alone, doing it all by ourselves, that's when we start to build the confidence to see the truth of how much we've learned. And you know what? Maybe we're not perfect at it right away, but it's sometimes the only way to move through those awkward moments and to build the confidence is to actually just walk it. Okay. I've actually had this conversation with several of you this week on the cusp of moving more fully into your own businesses. And one of the things that came through that I saw, some people were holding themselves back, feeling that exact thing, like that space of maybe just not feeling confident enough. And I was able to see, because I've been there before, really the thing that you're looking for, that piece that you were hoping for to feel more confident, to feel that you can offer your offerings to clients, is only found in the process of starting to offer your services. Okay. The collective feminines are in the same exact space, opening up to the masculine collectives. Now, I'm going to let each of you clearly discern this for yourselves. Some of you may still be in your hermit phase. Obviously, just take this information for yourself for the future when you're ready, when it's pertinent, when it makes sense. But I feel like there's actually probably quite a few of you that have been that have done such an amazing job of surrendering and allowing yourself to mind your business and not focus on your masculine or the masculine collective, that now this is kind of coming like, oh, really? Like, we're doing this now? Yes. And this is the next steps and stages of our growth as individuals, but also as collectives on the planet. And it's where we strengthen our unity consciousness muscles. And it's where we prepare more deeply for physical world union in many ways. Okay, yes, just inner union, but also actually practice for physically manifested divine union counter partnerships, right, loves? Like, this is why many of you are here with me. And so let's bring it all together because you've been working on it. Allow all of that deeper inner union, higher self work come into the next levels of embodiment. And if you're looking for more support in this process, like in a very tangible way of how to maybe navigate these conversations or connections or decisions or opportunities, you can go to the higher self embodiment playlist or the inner union playlist. And there's lots of beautiful support that I've been sharing on there, because I feel like we can talk about these processes all day till we're blue in the face, but this is really about living them, getting out in the real live world, opening up to receiving these processes and these connections and these experiences, and allowing ourselves to embody all of what we've been learning so that then we can share it in an even bigger and broader way. All right, loves. I'm super excited that this is what's coming through. And I hope that this was supportive to help kind of unravel and alleviate any of those areas of frustration that you may have been feeling, in understanding that sometimes frustration is coming through because you've grown so much more than you've actually realized. And I'm excited collectively because this means on a planetary scale, we're actually ready to meet back in the middle. We're ready to meet back in the heart space as a collective, as collectives. This is phenomenal, exciting, beautiful, gorgeous, fantastic work. Please give yourself props. Please give yourself high fives. And I see you and I feel you, and I'm excited for you. And on the tails of this, I am going to come back tomorrow with a perspective from the Divine Masculine Collective on meeting in the heart space, reestablishing connection and communication in the physical world to start to actually build these communities of unity consciousness. And let's see what comes through with that tomorrow. All right, loves, I hope you have a beautiful rest of your day. Love you.